The question for today, someone posed to me, is there a better fighter than Bruce Lee? Well, we all know that the legendary master of martial arts is no longer with us. So when we say, is there, it's really an unfair question because he's not here to defend his position as the world renowned greatest martial artist of our time. But theoretically speaking, there were great masters during the time that Bruce Lee lived. And there are great masters today who were better than Bruce Lee, good as or better than, today and even when he lived. But they didn't surface then. So while Bruce Lee lived, who else was there in the spotlight as a famous martial arts celebrity on the level that Bruce Lee was on? Be honest. So I'm talking to all of the so-called martial arts masters, grandmasters, and practitioners of martial arts. Since some of us say that Bruce Lee wasn't worthy of his position, which he never labeled himself as the greatest martial artist of all time, the world did. So all of you who have downplayed Bruce Lee, if he was not, during his time anyway, while he was living, the greatest martial artist or martial arts fighter, who was? Be honest. Was it you? Was there someone that was living that you know of, that we know of, that was as good as or better than Bruce Lee as a fighter during the time that Bruce Lee lived? Put their name in the comment section below. And for all of you Bruce Lee haters, stop perpetrating the fraud. Put it down. I challenge you. Let's see if you can find 10 that was as good as or better than Bruce Lee during the time that he lived as a fighter. And if you are one of those individuals and you happen to still be with us, and you think it was you that was good as or better than Bruce Lee, black, white, Asian, or otherwise, say it's you. Say you could have beat Bruce Lee. Like Steven Seagal said, Bruce Lee wasn't even on the level of a lot of top masters during this time. Like Michael Jai White said that he could have beat Bruce Lee. And like some others said that Bruce Lee wasn't that good and he was just an actor. If you believe that it was you, then say it. So be it. Put it in the comment section below. How dare you? I dare you to say it was you that was as good as or better than Bruce Lee. Are you humble enough? Is it humility? Is that why you won't say it? Because you think you're so good but you don't have to speak about it? But you can talk down on the dragon. You can talk down on Bruce Lee. So, I say again, before you respond to this, who was as good as Bruce Lee as a fighter during the time he lived? I challenge you. That's a challenge right now. Tell me who it was so we can talk about that individual. So we can look that individual up. So we can compare that individual to Bruce Lee. Okay. I say there were people during his time that he lived that was as good as or better than, and I've said this before, and I say today there are people who are as good as and maybe better than Bruce Lee. But guess what? They never proven themselves. Not today. They've never proven themselves during the time that he lived. So who is it? I'm out.